This is what the narcissist fears. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So, there are many fears the narcissist has, and I've touched on these over the years in videos. I created a playlist with the top 10 fears of the narcissist. I'm going to touch on that again because, again, I'm being inundated with emails and questions about when is the narcissist going to get their payback? When are they going to get their karma? Are they afraid of anything? Does justice ever get served to them? Whatever happens to them, how come they can just slither their way through life and it seems like there's no price to pay for them? I'll answer these questions and so many more if you stay with the video. First of all, there are many fears of the narcissist, and these will be in no particular order, but one of the main fears of the narcissist is exposure. They do not want to be exposed by anybody. They don't want to be called out. They don't want somebody to figure out who they are and learn what the word narcissism actually means. And they don't want people isolating them from the narcissist, which means the narcissist essentially doesn't want people to go no contact, to block them, delete them, etc. Which is why in every video I've created for almost 5 years, I suggest quite the opposite. You see, I'm not the narcissist. I'm here to pay it forward and to help you understand how serious these relationships are and how life-threatening and taxing and challenging these relationships are, and that how very few people will ever understand what you went through. If you've been in the narcissistic abusive cycle, you can finish my sentence probably like that. I can tell you right now, I can finish yours in a heartbeat, meaning no matter where you are on the journey, if this is your first video you're ever consuming, or maybe it's the 20,000th video you're consuming, wherever you are on the journey, I've been there. I know what it's like. I can put myself in your shoes in a heartbeat. I know what it's like to be love bombed. I know what it's like to be peppered with abuse in the devaluation stage. I know what it's like to be triangulated, to experience rage fits, to be in a moving car and have someone scream in your right ear at 100 decibels trying to break your eardrum. I know what it's like to have things thrown at you, to be mocked, to be told, oh, you're a nice guy, and to have intimacy withheld, to be not co-parenting, but to be counter-parented, and on and on and on. Most likely you experienced similar things, or maybe even those and many more. One thing's for sure, we are all on the healing path. We're all headed in the same direction, simply taking different footsteps. I could be 5,000 yards in front of you. You could be 10,000 yards behind me. Wherever you are in the journey, you need to continue to believe in yourself the way I believe in you, and you need to continue to see that light at the end of the tunnel. You need to continue to work on yourself and understand that the narcissist is riddled with fears. The second fear I'll share with you is anxiety. Personally, I didn't even know what anxiety was until I was trapped in that narcissistic abusive cycle. Perhaps I had experienced it, but as far as I know, I really didn't, because I was living a life of rose-tinted glasses, thinking that most people had my best interest at heart and thinking most people were built the way I'm built. Well, when I was in that relationship, I became a shell of myself. I became an extension of the narcissist. I lost my identity. I lost my bearings, my direction, and I became the unpaid helper. Became the walking apology, the sounding board, the cook, the cleaner, the errand person. You name it, I did it. I wore multiple hats to appease the toxic parasite and any of the flying monkeys that were swarming all around me. So anxiety is another thing that the narcissist is riddled with. You see, this is one of the main reasons why the narcissist can't sit still, because they know if they sit still without a smartphone or internet for a period of time, then everything will bubble up to the surface. The reality of what they've done, the facts that they keep hiding, the relationships that they've destroyed, the people that aren't even here on the planet that they blew up their lives, all of the relationships that they've crushed, all the money they've stolen, all the crypto they've hidden, all the foreign bank accounts where all the money's been laundered. You see, the narcissist knew what they were doing the whole time. Did they know as much as they know right now today? Probably not. What they did is they most likely compared their toxic stories with other toxic narcissists in that beehive or that hive mentality, and they asked the other people, maybe their own siblings or maybe their friends, I can't tell you what worked with you, and then they compared notes and said, wow, I haven't thought about that one. That's a new one, I can use that. And then they test it out with somebody, and if it works, they put it in their tool belt of abuse. If they don't, they throw it out the window. But what the narcissist does do is they have a mind like a steel trap. They learn about people and they understand and get inside those people's mindsets, which is why the narcissist is always looking to press buttons of abuse, to pull levers of toxicity, and to have people's lives implode at their hands. So the second thing the narcissist is afraid of or they fear is anxiety. So we talked about exposure briefly and anxiety. Another one is this, not mattering any longer. Relevance, if you will. When the narcissist no longer matters to you, like they don't to me, you will have reached a place that I call the mountaintop, the pinnacle of indifference. When you arrive at that place, you will see me standing there, just like I am right now. And you will see so many other people standing there, reaching our arms and our hands down to lift you up and to pull you up to where we are. When the narcissist doesn't matter to you any longer, that means you've healed. It means you've finally gotten one of your last, although not your last, but one of your last light bulb moments. You still will experience light bulb moments throughout your life because that's just the way this journey works. However, you won't be processing as many light bulb moments. There'll be fewer and further between. But when you reach indifference, you will say, wow, that person, they had the best thing they'll ever have in a human being, which was me, and I'm referring to you. And they blew it. They massively blew it. They imploded the relationship. They tried to discard me over and over again. They tried to fracture the relationship, all the micro discards I experienced, the death by 1,000 paper cuts, if you will. And they tried their best to destroy my life. But guess what? They didn't, because I'm here. And when you wrap your head around that and you understand what the definitions are on narcissism, like I mentioned earlier, gaslighting, stonewalling, projection, and more, then you put your experiences with those definitions together, and that equals wisdom. This is a newfound wisdom you've acquired. And with wisdom comes great responsibility. With power comes great responsibility. And with great responsibility comes an obligation to yourself and to those loved and trusted ones around you. You see, you're now in the third version of you, the strongest, most galvanized version of you known to humankind. I've shared this for multiple years. The first version of you is who you were before you were with the narcissist. The second version is who you became when you were being peppered with abuse, trapped in the narcissistic relationship. You were the pawn, the pauper, the indentured servant, more. And then the third version is the strongest, most galvanized version of you known to humankind. That version is who I am. That version is my hope, is either who you are, you're striving to become. When you reach that, you realize that the narcissist is riddled with anxiety. They don't want to get exposed, and they do not want to be irrelevant, I should say. And when they don't matter to you any longer, meaning they're not living in your mind rent-free, and you're not spying on their social media or driving by their house, or you're not drinking out of the old Feliz Cumpleaños coffee mug they gave you on a milestone birthday. You've deleted all the pictures. You've donated all the cheap things they've given you. You've sold other things. You've removed their negative energy from your mind, from your aura, your veins, your household, and your identity. When you've done that, you realize, wow, I did a mountain's worth of work on myself. And all that energy that I placed in myself, it used to be going into a toxic person, the narcissist. And what was I doing? Well, you were doing what I was doing. You were improving a person's circumstances and life to the detriment of your own. And when you were doing that, the narcissist knew that. You were just one in a number of people who were doing things for them. Again, whether you married them or not doesn't matter. What matters is they were abusing way more people than you will ever know. People in different countries, people at work, people in traffic, people at the local grocery store, people in your household, the neighborhood, more and more and more, in the hot Pilates class, all these things. But this is what the narcissist does. The narcissist only wants to take, and take. And when they're done, what do they want to do? That's right, they want to take more. And when the narcissist believes that they've finished somebody off, which means they've taken as much from them that they could possibly get, or that that person is so beaten down they have no more left to offer, usually the discard is next. And when the discard happens, you should know by now, unfortunately, that comes out of left field, and you're not prepared for it because you weren't taught Narcissism 101 in school, so you didn't know that a discard was part of the cycle, usually, and you didn't realize that that person was going to be exiting that time spent with you abruptly, and they were going to try their best to triangulate you, perhaps with the new supply, or blame you or guilt you, certainly not give you closure, and it's almost as if they are a ghost. They just vanished. That's what the narcissist does. See, this is the magic act of a lifetime. This is an illusion that so many people had experienced in the past but couldn't put their finger on it. This is the house of cards that we are now understanding to be known as the narcissistic relationship. I'm going to touch on a few things here. One, in the old days, when I say old days, let's say before 2000 or before the internet or the smartphone, whatever you want. And I know they all didn't come out in the same year. But one expression used to be this: oh, he is just going through a midlife crisis. Now, usually what that meant in the past, and you probably may have heard that term today or recently, although you probably didn't hear it nearly as much. And I'll tell you exactly why I'm talking about this and exactly why you're not hearing about it nearly as much. It's because this, in the old days before people knew what narcissism was, they would say, oh, he's just having a midlife crisis. He just divorced his wife of 10, 20, 30, 40 years. He got the fancy sports car and now he's dating somebody 1/4 of his age. Well, and he's wearing fancy clothes and spending money he doesn't have and doing weird things. Yeah, weird things. Well, in the old days, when you hear that, you would think, wow, that poor wife, like that's not good. It sucks. And what's going on there? And this guy just totally did what he did. Well, take your midlife crisis as I just identified it. You can have your own examples of whatever it is. Now flip it into narcissistic discard. See, from my mindset, the midlife crisis was never the midlife crisis. That was just a term that people created years ago, whether they had the wisdom or didn't, wink, wink, and my guess is they did, but they didn't want to say what it was. And now people like me are creating videos, paying it forward. We now know that the midlife crisis isn't that. It's when the narcissist wants to take the mask off, smash it down in 1,000 pieces, recreate themselves, act like they're much younger than they are, and try to attract younger people who are naive and vulnerable and who are, let's say, 20% of their age, or they're so much younger. And they don't have to be younger, but that's what the narcissist tends to do. So that's one example, midlife crisis. Now you look at it a different way, don't you? You should, because there's no such thing as a midlife crisis. What it is, it's a toxic parasite trying to recreate themselves, reinvent themselves on all the hard work that their spouse put into them over 10, 20, 30 plus years. If you don't agree with that, that's up to you. It's my take. I'm standing by it. You see, each and every day I am learning more and more, and I too am becoming more and more awakened and aware, educated and empowered, just like you are. I'm digging into much deeper topics these days, much deeper aspects of the mindset, of human behavior, of what we were taught and how it pertains to this exact year. Another example would be, you could say that people, how about the crazy uncle or the aunt that just never got married? Well, who were those people? Maybe you had a couple of those in your family and maybe they were around once every Christmas, or maybe you would hear from them once every 2 years, whatever it was, and you'd be asking your parents, whatever happened to Uncle so-and-so or Aunt so-and-so? How come no one talks to them? Well, you were told that they were the crazy uncle, as the example, or the person who just liked their space. Were they the toxic people themselves, or did they figure out what narcissism is at a much younger age and they decided to not participate like you would with other engagements or other relationships? See what I'm saying here? The crazy uncle may never have been a crazy uncle. Maybe he was wise enough through his own experiences to say, you know what, I love or don't love my family, but I really don't want to see them that often. I'll check a box and show up for a Christmas every once in a while, but I'll make it a quick appearance, and I'll go back into doing what I'm doing, because maybe they experience toxicity that you'll never know about. See, everything isn't how it appears to be on the planet. And these are things the narcissist fears. The narcissist fears, here's another one for you. This should be at the top of the list, but as I shared, there's no specific order of these. As I'm free-flowing like I always do, I'll tell you this one. The next thing the narcissist is afraid of is becoming the aging narcissist. The aging narcissist is not, and I repeat, not a pretty sight to see, but that's what each and every one of these people becomes if they reach a certain age. What that age is, I can't tell you, but they will know it. It's when they're not grooming themselves as well as they used to. It's when they're trying to learn words of a generation or two younger than them. It's when they're wearing clothes of a younger generation. It's when they're acting non-age appropriate and they're trying to hold on to their youth. You see, many of these toxic people have what is known as Peter Pan syndrome. You don't hear about that syndrome that often, but what it is in a nutshell, it's when somebody doesn't want to grow old. They think they're going to stay young forever. That's a very non-healthy mindset, extremely non-healthy. And you may say, well, what's wrong with that? Well, if a person is trying to fight Father Time by doing certain things, that's one thing. But if they're claiming verbally, saying they're never going to get old, knowing that time ticks on, well, I think that they really should take a better look in the mirror, because we're all getting older. And yes, I understand AI is here, and I understand that some people are claiming that we're going to live for an extra 100, 200, 500 years. I'm not saying I believe it or don't. What I'm saying is that the narcissist is afraid of getting older. They don't want to lose it. Another thing is, the narcissist is afraid of losing their skill set, their charm, their ability to lure people into the webs of manipulation. When the narcissist is in their 20s, they appear a certain way. In their 30s, a little bit different. 40s, different. 50s, and on and on. But as the narcissist goes through life, again, as I shared, they begin to fumble through life more and more. They're not as sharp as they used to be. And they forget things more and more. And they don't have the charm. They don't have the same mask that they used to have. And they're afraid of losing that. Think about this. Think about when you were with the narcissist. Say you would go to an event. Maybe you attended a ceremony. Well, you went with the narcissist, and I'm sure you drove them. You put the gas in the car. You were paying for the car. And they were in the passenger seat triangulating you with one of their 3 smartphones when you went to the event. Well, what would happen when you got to the event? The narcissist, of course, would take their wedding ring off and walk 40 feet in front of you, appearing single, even though they were married to you, but they were devaluing you by walking in front and taking their wedding ring off. But what would they be doing? They'd be looking around the room immediately trying to figure out who they knew, who the new people were, who they didn't want to talk to, who they would avoid, and who they had to talk to. But also what they were doing is comparing how everybody looked. Yes, they were. Oh, that person looks absolutely incredible. They look amazing. That person, maybe not so much. That person looks fantastic. What will they do? They'll slither over to those people and ask them where they got their clothes and how they shop. And at ABC, can you introduce me to your tailor? What about the owner of the shop? I know you know them. See, they're trying to slither their way in these people's lives to maintain a certain identity or appearance. So the narcissist doesn't want to grow old. I've given you 4 or 5 now. I'll give you 2 more and I'll close the video. Another thing the narcissist is afraid of is not having money. What does the narcissist love more than money? They love your money more than money. Now that's not only a tagline I came up with years ago, but it's true. Usually when the money runs out, so does the narcissist. But when the money runs out, the narcissist usually doesn't have anything to be concerned about because they've been stacking or hiding or squirreling your money for so many years behind the scenes that they'll make it appear like they're destitute and they have nothing. But believe me, they were preparing for that for a long time, just like the narcissist knows when the discard's going to take place or when the ending of the relationship will take place, because each and every narcissistic relationship has an expiration date. They also know that if they can start hoarding and stacking your money and your resources, or put the boat or the house, the ski chalet or the cars in their name, that you're going to be left holding the bag. This is what they do. But money is a huge thing. Now you may say, well, yeah, we all need money. Yeah, we do. We need money for food, shelter, water, internet, to pay our bills, to drive our cars, and to pay for everything that we need in life. However, the narcissist doesn't just want money. They hoard money, and they don't want other people to have the money. There's a huge difference to the expression sharing the wealth, which is if, let's say you had $10 trillion, I know it's a lot of money, and you shared it with people, well, that's being generous and being nice and kind. The narcissist, if they had $10 trillion and others had 0, they wouldn't give them 1 red cent. They wouldn't give them 1 penny, and they would enjoy it. They would relish it because they have and the other people don't have. See where I'm going with this? It's all black and white, bad and good, in or out. This is the narcissist. They are bizarro world in a nutshell. And you lived in that world for quite a long period of time, so did I, but you didn't know these things. The last thing I'll share for this video, what the narcissist fears, another thing they fear, is that people all over the globe and the planet are getting stronger as they get weaker. Now, I've been saying this for years in videos. I'm going to say it again. When you, yes, you, the person consuming the video, when you do your part and you block the narcissist and go no contact and remove them from your energy field or from any avenues of communication that they had open to you, when you do that, you're doing your part. That's one less person that the narcissist can communicate with. When you did your part, then the next person does their part, and on and on and on. That's what we, the collective, must do when we exit these narcissistic relationships and as we heal. We cannot ever, and I mean ever again, be in the proximity of toxicity. We cannot support any poor behavior. We cannot turn a blind eye. We have to trust our instincts and our intuition, and we have to pay attention to red flags, although we don't experience them nearly as much these days, which is a good thing. We need to embrace green flags. But when we go no contact, that means you did your part. You did what you could do to help yourself out, those loved and trusted ones, and everybody else on the planet. That's why when you do what you're supposed to do, just like I do what I'm supposed to do, if we all did it, this planet would be amazing. But it's not what it should be right now, because we still have toxicity, positivity, narcissism, empathy, taking, giving, targeting, being targeted. So that's why I create videos each and every day to pay it forward for those people who don't even know that they need help. And I was one of those people at one point, and I'm sure that you were as well. Having said all those things, the fears of the narcissist, things that the narcissist fears, I just touched on 5, maybe 6. You could add easily another 0 or 2 zeros to that list. If you have the opportunity, take a look at the playlist I created, which is Top 10 Fears of the Narcissist. These are older videos, but they have never been more true today than the day I created them. And you must also understand, if you're out of the narcissistic relationship, you need to stay out. Don't tempt fate. Don't unblock the narcissist. Don't peek on their social. Have nothing to do with them. Keep them as far away from you as possible, and stay away from anybody who uses their name. You shouldn't hear their name ever again from people that you know they're loved and trusted post-relationship once you've healed, because those people should know who that toxic person was, and they may not be able to wrap their head around what they did, but they should know it changed you. So if it changed you, they should support you. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. I just realized there is the sun popping through here on this day, which we all know what it is. It's a February 14th, 2026. You can call it a different day if you want to. It's just a day in the calendar to me. It once meant something to me. Just a day to me these days. That's why I'm out here in the Carolina woods creating videos and helping you out. But having said that, you need to understand a few things. The narcissist is not living their best life. Number one, the narcissist will always be number two, they'll always be looking over their shoulders. Number three, all the ghosts that will haunt the narcissists, they will always be sputtering around in the narcissist's mind. This is why they can't sit still. Number four, the narcissist will always, and I mean this, they will always blame anybody, but they will never take accountability for themselves. And the last one I'll share with you is this. If you're waiting for karma or payback or retribution, or waiting for their shoe to drop, or for the narcissist's life to implode, I would really not do that. That day may happen right now. It may happen tonight. Maybe it happens tomorrow. Maybe it doesn't happen for another 10 or 20, 30 years. Maybe it happens in the afterlife. I can't tell you. What I can tell you is you need to cut all the ties with the narcissist, the financial, emotional, physical, and spiritual. You need to heal properly, go no contact, and you need to really focus on yourself, because the narcissist will get what's coming to them, and they know it. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Bye.